Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
We're just a couple of goofy characters in love that love reacting to some Genshin Impact.
Goofy for Genshin.
Yeah. And so we're checking out 3 Genshin Impact character Miscellany trailers today. It's Chip Show Tuesday, people.
Woohoo!
So we got Nilou, Nahida, and Layla that we're checking out. And if you want all of our Genshin Impact reactions, we got a playlist down below in the description of this video, along with a link to our Patreon, where you can get early ad-free access to Genshin Impact reactions. About a month ahead there as we make our way through the Collected Miscellany playlist because it's Genshin Impact.
We have a drink.
Yeah.
It is Clee's Sparkling Bomb, and it's awesome because it's got pop rocks.
Pop rock rim.
Woohoo.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the people of Sumeru who are accustomed to receiving concrete information from the Akasha, the arts are an abstract and intangible concept.
Very pretty.
What constitutes good art? Is there a way to quantify its value? These questions leave even the academia's most esteemed scholars at a loss. But to Nilou, art is the simplest and purest thing in the world. There is no barrier to entry, and everyone can appreciate its beauty.
Where are we dancing today?
Though Nilou's dancing may appear delicate, there is measured strength
dangerous.
behind every step. Nilou integrates swordplay with agile footwork as she waltzes with the water to the aid of her allies.
And she smiles while kicking your ass.
Dancing requires not only grace, but physical endurance as well.
Puppy.
That is why Nilou pays particular attention to her dietary intake. When Nilou achieves perfect cooking on dishes with adventure-related effects,
perfect
she
cook.
has a certain
Yeah,
chance
no.
to double the product. Nilou's normal attack can combo up to 3 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies.
What about when you charge it?
When using her charged attack, Nilou consumes a certain amount of stamina to unleash a twirling strike, dealing physical damage.
She has a little...
When she uses her elemental skill,
Move
Nilou
afterwards.
enters the pirouette state, dealing hydro damage to nearby enemies based on her max
Hi, Bobs.
HP. While in the pirouette
me angry
state,
they went red.
using
Yeah.
Nilou's normal attack or elemental skill
say she
triggers
used
her
water, but it looked
sword
like she
dance
burnt them.
stance or whirling
think someone
step
burnt.
stance, respectively, while damage she deals is converted to hydro damage that cannot be overridden and is treated as elemental skill damage. While the pirouette state is active, Nilou's third stance will end this state and trigger a different effect depending on the stance. If Nilou's final stance is Sword Dance, she unleashes a luminous illusion that inflicts hydro damage to enemies it hits, while also gaining the Lunar Prayer effect. While Lunar Prayer is active, Nilou's normal attack is converted to a Sword Dance, and her final hit will unleash a luminous illusion. If Nilou's final stance is Whirling Steps, she unleashes a whirling water wheel that deals AoE hydro damage. Also, a Tranquility Aura is created that follows your active character and applies the wet status to enemies in range.
Alright.
Nilou cannot perform charged attacks while the Pirouette or Lunar Prayer status is active. Leaving the battlefield will remove the status. After unlocking the talent Court of Dancing Petals, if the party consists exclusively of Dendro and Hydro characters, including at least one of each, the third stance of Nilou's elemental skill, when executed, will confer the Golden Chalice's bounty effect on all nearby characters for a limited time. When a character under the effects of Golden Chalice's bounty is hit by a Dendro attack, the elemental mastery of all nearby characters is increased for a certain time. Additionally, triggering a Bloom reaction will produce a Bountiful Core instead of a Dendro Core. The Bountiful Core's attack is treated as a post-Bloom Dendro Core attack, but it bursts more quickly and has a larger AoE than the Dendro Core. Bountiful Cores cannot trigger Hyperbloom or Burgeon reactions, and they share the same field limit as Dendro Cores. Nilou's dancing style is the stuff of dreams, captivating her audience's hearts and bolstering their spirits. After unlocking the talent Dreamy Dance of Eons, bountiful cores triggered due to Golden Chalice's bounty deal increased damage based on how much of Nilou's max HP exceeds a given value. Bountiful core damage can only be increased in this manner by up to a certain amount.
dance is for you.
Nilou's elemental burst begins a dance of faraway dreams and melodic springs that causes a lotus of distant waters to bloom, dealing AoE hydro damage based on Nilou's max HP. Enemies hit by the elemental burst will sustain the lingering Eon effect, which deals hydro damage after a short delay. To Nilou, there is little difference between battle and dance, since both can be used to resolve one's troubles. Most of Nilou's combat is centered around her elemental skill. She freely dances between her two stances, with sword dance allowing her to continuously inflict hydro damage via lunar prayer, and whirling steps setting the stage for follow-up elemental reactions through the persistent tranquility aura effect. With the right party composition, Nilou's third stance during the performance of her elemental skill grants the Golden Chalice's bounty effect to her teammates. Triggering the bloom reaction while this effect is active spawns special bountiful cores
That's
that
pretty
deal
cool.
greater damage to enemies.
Exploding everywhere.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
When her elemental energy is full, Nilou can use her elemental burst to begin a dance of faraway dreams, dealing AoE hydro damage and applying the lingering Eon effect to any enemies hit. The lingering Eon follows up with a further attack after a short delay, ushering in the curtain call of Nilou's spectacular performance. I must stress that I am a warrior and in no way versed in the disciplines of song
Trying to
and
get that
dance.
pop rock.
If anyone was expecting to hear my philosophical musings on these topics, I'm sorry to disappoint. But while I am no connoisseur, even I find myself moved once in a while by the sight of an extraordinary performance. Even for the nation of wisdom, citing the pursuit of rationality as a justification for refusing to acknowledge the comfort that an audience can find in the arts is sheer arrogance. When groups clash, or human ideals conflict with the rules of the world around them, disputes of this nature most often arise from the inability to tolerate the existence of that which is different from oneself.
The arts are important.
Lesser Lord Kusanali is a god unlike any other. As the god of wisdom, she has profound insight into the nature of all things, yet she has never had the opportunity to learn by doing. One may ask, how can a god possess true wisdom in the absence of lived experience? All answers can be found in dreams, and she welcomes fellow truth seekers to dream along with her.
I've been waiting for you for ages.
Oh.
Over her years of confinement, Lesser Lord Kusanali has grown intensely curious about the world outside. Just through observing from afar, Nahida has learned enough to adapt to any situation. Nahida's normal attack can perform up to 4 strikes that deal dendro damage.
She's like copping out a little box.
Her charged attack consumes a set amount of stamina to deal AoE dendro damage in front of her after a short casting time. Tap Nahida's elemental skill to cast dendral bonds that deal AoE dendro damage. Of the enemy's hit, a certain number will be marked with the seed of Skanda. Hold her elemental skill to enter aiming mode and target enemies within a certain range. Nahida benefits from increased resistance to interruption while in this mode. Aiming mode lasts for a limited duration, and only a limited number of enemies can be selected as targets. Release the skill button to deal dendro damage to all selected enemies, and mark them with a seed of Skanda. Enemies marked with a seed of Skanda and in range of each other will form a connection. When an enemy marked with a seed of Skanda triggers an elemental reaction or takes damage from dendro cores, Nahida unleashes Tri-Karma Purification, dealing dendro damage to them and all connected enemies based on Nahida's attack and elemental mastery. Tri-Karma Purification can only be triggered once per set interval. After unlocking the talent Awakening Elucidated, the crit rate and damage of Tri-Karma Purification will be increased based on the amount of Nahida's elemental mastery that exceeds a given value. Tri-Karma Purification's crit rate and damage can only be increased in this manner up to a certain amount. Nahida is always watching, listening, learning about the world around her. Nahida's elemental skill allows her to interact with certain harvestable items when they are in range. In some scenarios, it may also have other uses.
The Temple of Wisdom!
When Nahida unleashes her elemental burst, she materializes the Court of Dreams and brings forth the Shrine of Maya. The shrine provides different effects depending on the elemental types of characters in the party, as follows. If the party contains a pyro character, the damage dealt by Trikarma Purification will be increased when Nahida is within the Shrine of Maya's AoE. If the party contains an electro character, the interval between each Trikarma Purification is decreased when Nahida is within the Shrine of Maya's AoE. If the party contains a Hydro character, the Shrine of Maya's duration will be extended. When the Shrine of Maya is created, if the party contains at least 2 characters of the aforementioned elemental types, their corresponding effects will receive a further boost. So long as the active party member remains within the shrine, the effects described above can be triggered even if Nahida is not on the field.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nahida freely shares her knowledge with anyone who asks, but how much of it they can comprehend depends on their own aptitude. After unlocking the talent Compassion Illuminated, when Nahida casts her elemental burst, the elemental mastery of the active character within the Shrine of Maya will be increased based on the elemental mastery of whichever party members is highest. Elemental mastery can only be increased up to a certain amount in this manner. The God of Wisdom excels both at posing questions and answering them. Combat is no different. The enemy is the conundrum, and her strategy is the solution. In battle, Nahida first targets a group of enemies with her elemental skill, using Seeds of Skanda to connect them to each other. Next, she coordinates with her teammates to trigger elemental reactions, repeatedly unleashing Trikarma Purifications as
There's a lot
her
going
main
on.
attack. She and her team branch out across the battlefield, taking out the weeds as they go. When energy is full, Nahida unleashes her elemental burst, creating the Shrine of Maya to increase all active characters' elemental mastery and provide additional effects depending on the elemental composition of her party. Faced with Nahida's increased dendro damage and the strengthened team around her, all who enter the Temple of Wisdom seeking conflict will soon be reunited with their home turf. Humans often place gods on a pedestal, awestruck by their unfathomable power. Very few ever come to the realization that gods are not the rulers of Teyvat, but merely another form of living being in this world. A god who lacks strength may have little to no advantage, even over mere mortals. Even I have no spiteful words to say about a god such as this. I will leave her be. Perhaps the god of Dendro will continue to propagate herself for as long as Irminsul continues to exist. As for the significance of Irminsul to the whole of Teyvat, I will leave that for those who are not under this world's control to discover for themselves. Dreaming may be an entirely new concept to the majority in Sumeru, but one person's already managed to become famous for it. Recently, the strange tales of the sleepwalking eccentric have been circulating in the academia. Rarely used telescopes quietly moving during the night. Entire theses finished between dusk and dawn, and a girl seen in the city 1 minute spotted all the way over at Caravan Rebop the next. The only one who can't muster the strength to investigate it is Layla herself. Chronic sleep deprivation has taken its toll on her energy levels.
Oh, can't sleep? Let's go for a walk then.
Layla's research primarily focuses on theoretical astrology. After receiving her cryovision, she formed a star-crusted veil with ice and frost, providing a space for her companions to study, rest, and even fight undisturbed. Sometimes,
I just
while
want to look at
deep
this flower
asleep,
you got. Let's shoot
a
in.
friend that Layla never knew she had will secretly come to her aid. When Layla crafts character talent materials, she has a chance to receive double the product, boosting the party's adventure readiness. Layla's normal attack can combo up to 3 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies. Using her charged attack, Layla consumes a certain amount of stamina and performs 2 swift slashes to her front, dealing physical damage. Casting Layla's elemental skill creates a Curtain of Slumber and also deals AoE cryo damage. The Curtain of Slumber absorbs damage based on Layla's max HP and absorbs cryo damage even more effectively. Layla also becomes affected by cryo for a short time when the Curtain of Slumber is created. At regular intervals while the Curtain of Slumber is active, a Night Star is generated, which adheres to the curtain. Additionally, 2 Night Stars are generated when a character protected by the curtain casts their elemental skill. Night Stars can only be generated in this manner once per set time period, and a maximum of 4 Night Stars may exist at one time. After 4 Night Stars have been accumulated, if there are enemies in range, the Night Stars convert to Shooting Stars that automatically home in on enemies, dealing cryo damage on hit. No new Night Stars can be generated until all Shooting Stars have fired. When the Curtain of Slumber expires or is destroyed, any Night Stars present disappear along with it. If they have already converted into Shooting Stars and started firing, they will remain until all of them have finished firing. After unlocking the talent like Nascent Light, while the Curtain of Slumber is present, gaining a Night Star triggers the Deep Sleep effect. Deep Sleep increases the shield strength of the character under the curtain's protection. It can be stacked up to 4 times and is cleared when the Curtain of Slumber expires. Any disturbance is too much after a night of poor quality sleep. The only solution is to get rid of them completely. After unlocking the talent Sweet Slumber Undisturbed, the Shooting Stars fired by Layla's elemental skill deal increased damage based on Layla's max HP.
Stars, shine for me.
Layla's elemental burst unleashes a soporific celestial dream sphere that continuously fires starlight slugs at enemies within range, dealing cryo damage. When a starlight slug hits an enemy, a Night Star is also generated on nearby Curtains of Slumber. Each Curtain of Slumber can gain only 1 Night Star in this manner per set time period. Layla knows the pain of sleep deprivation all too keenly and naturally wouldn't wish it on any of her companions. In battle, Layla uses her elemental skill to create a protective Curtain of Slumber for her teammates and starts accumulating Night Stars. A full quota of Night Stars will convert into Shooting Stars that target nearby enemies and deal cryo damage, supporting the battle effort. When energy is full, Layla unleashes her elemental burst to create a celestial dream sphere, which continuously fires starlight slugs at enemies in range to deal cryo damage, while also increasing the production of Night Stars, helping her teammates to comfortably slide their way to victory. Many people have 2 sides to their personality, but it's not often that the contrast between them is as stark as Layla's. She spends her waking hours crushed by stress over her schoolwork, yet when sleepwalking, her mind is sharp and lucid. She casts aside her unproductive feelings of self-doubt and gets much accomplished. But perhaps she should count her blessings. Finding a goal in life is difficult enough as it is, and having any chance at all to pursue it undisturbed is nigh on impossible. Enjoy life while things are still uncomplicated. Go and do the things you want to do, because once you reach a certain age, things can never go back to being as simple as they once were.
So, downer note to leave it on?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So what'd you think?
There have been a couple of characters in a few of these that have talked about how, like, they seem so young and adorable and how that makes me see them as less powerful. The funny thing is with Nahida, when they talked about this young, adorable creature being the god of wisdom, I was like, yeah, that checks out. What was the line from that the spider says in Game of Thrones, but wisdom oft comes from the mouth of babes. And it's entirely true. We as adults, I don't know, we get all wrapped up in our education and in society and expectations and mannerisms and different things where it's like, if you've ever been around a kid calls a spade a spade. They don't care about anything else. They've made an observation and they're sticking to it. And kids have to be super observant. They're so new to the world. They're learning everything. I mean, children are sponges. They're soaking it all up. So I completely bought that this young and innocent creature was a god, and specifically the god of wisdom. And I feel like she would probably do a better job than any adult would. Nilou is... there was another character... Yunjin from another episode. And what I said that I liked about her was how she did everything with like this dancer's grace and had that kind of flair to it. I think Nilou does it a little better. She just had, I don't know, there was like a zestfulness about her that I really appreciated. And she still had the dancer's flair, but like her dancing was also more alluring, maybe like even more sensual. Like I think of like Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like she had that kind of thing going on about her. So I was very impressed with her, and I think she kind of knocked Yunjin down maybe a peg or two. Layla's tired. I understand that. I'm tired a lot too. I'm one of those people who does not function well with less than 8 hours of sleep. See, he says, He knows I get cranky.
No. I'm the same way.
But I didn't, like, whereas her attacks looked really cool, I didn't necessarily get that whole story in, like, the narration and everything. I think maybe because they opened with her being so sleepy, my first impression of her is just she's sleepy, as opposed to look at all of these cool celestial things she can do. That was kind of like the afterthought to how tired she is.
And her first move is sleeping in like a bubble.
Which I would like that bubble. If it is possible to have said bubble and said power and that can be shared, I would gladly take advantage of that power. But compared to all the other characters who are, like I said, Nilou was zestful. I mean, it was like all the other characters seem to be a lot more vivacious, and if they're not vivacious in like a youthful, spirited way, they are in a like badass kind of powerful way. So Layla sticks out in being sleepy, but she just doesn't it's not impressing me as a first impression.
So is that how your favorites would be, Nahida, Nilou, and Layla?
I think so.
Okay. I think you nailed it with Nahida. Like when we were watching her, she was like so short and like, had the adorable
short.
She was so short. She was tiny. And she had the little big eyes and all the like adorable features, but like I didn't think of her as like oh, she's so cute and sweet. Like there was a weight to her, like a gravitas to her. I thought you put it more eloquently than I could. But I just want to say that that was something that I noticed too, but I couldn't really pinpoint it. And then when you started talking about it, like the wisdom and everything, like, oh, okay, that's what they were trying to get across. And I guess they did. She would probably be my favorite out of this group, then Layla, then Nilou. Again, same thing with Nilou with Yunjin, which we had reacted to before. Just like, I don't know, like, okay, you're like an actor. And
so you don't like the dancers?
I don't like the dancers, the actors. Not in this world. I mean, in the real world, sure, great. But in the world of Genshin Impact, just not as impressive.
Okay.
Power levels, I would say same thing, Nahida, Layla, and Nilou.
Yeah.
I mean, because Nahida's got to be first, and she's like God.
Yeah, I mean, Nahida's definitely first, no question. And I'm trying to think of Nilou versus Layla, and again, I think I'm kind of like somewhat blocked from judging this accurately by thinking of Layla as sleepy. So then my gut is to like be like, well, no, but she's second because she had that awesome like raining fire down move.
Yeah.
And I think that is pushing me to say she's second, because when it comes to Nilou, I remember her dancing and like the kind of flair that she brought to the table, but I don't remember any one move.
Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments, and if we got it right as far as who we thought like the strength levels are, and let us know if these are some of your favorite characters and if there's some of your mains in the game. And if you want early ad-free access to our Genshin Impact reactions, check out the description of this video because we got a link to our Patreon there. Yes. And finally, thanks so much for watching. Checking out this reaction for Genshin Impact Collective Miscellany, but just keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.